Hello, Doko here. Today we're having a look at RPA, but not in your normal sense. Normally when you attend a course on RPA, it'll start off by explaining using a slide deck, okay, this is what RPA is, and the audience kind of tune out because you're just presenting PowerPoint slides like you see here. So rather than doing that, a better idea is to start off with a demo, capture the audience's attention, get them engaged, get them paying attention rather than starting off by showing them a deck of slides. So what we're going to do here today is have a look at the UiBank, which is just a demo from UiPath, which shows how to apply for loans, how to set up accounts, etc. So all we're going to do here is apply for loans, and we're going to do that using PDFs. So we have 100 PDFs that I've created that allow you to apply for the loan using a PDF. So the PDF will be scanned, and then the information will then be put into the application form on the website. So an example of an application here is just this, where we have our email address, our loan amount, a loan term, the yearly income, and the age. So this will vary from different PDFs. The form looks like this at the application for the loan on the site. So we have the corresponding fields here, and then we just enter the data from the PDF, we extract the data, and then we click the submit button, and then we move to the next PDF. So if it was successful, we would get a message like this saying congratulations. We would have an interest rate here, or a loan rate, which would be, it could vary, so this number's not fixed, it will depend on the loan. So we have to extract this data, and we'll get a loan ID, and then we'll apply for the next loan. If the loan application was unsuccessful, we'll get a message like this, where it could be because we were less than 18 years old or our loan exceeded 100K. So loans have to be less than 100K, otherwise they'll be rejected. So the demo includes the following. We're reading and moving files, PDFs in this case, so it's dealing with the file system. We're extracting data from the PDFs. So these PDFs are not scanned PDFs, but they could be scanned PDFs, so they're in a digital format already. But if we had a scanned PDF, we could use a OCR to read the data. So we're going to be extracting the data highlighted in yellow and then input that data into the form. So we'll be doing data entry, and we'll be clicking the buttons. So in this case, the loan application, submit the loan application button. We'll then be doing screen scraping. So once the result comes out, we need to extract the rate, the loan rate off the screen, and the loan ID off the screen, and then send that in an email to the applicant and tell them either that their loan was accepted or rejected. Now to do that, to speed up our process, rather than when we send these emails, rather than having that as part of our main process, we can create a background process, which means the email, if that was a slow process, could happen in the background while our main process over here could keep processing the next PDF while these emails. So UiPath allows you to have one foreground process if you had an attended bot and many background processes. So we could be sending off many emails in the background while our main process continues on to extract and read the information in the foreground. Now, when we're using these emails, we have a password we're using to access the account that we're sending. We're using SMTP. So in order to do that, we want to store our passwords securely, so we can use Asset Manager in Orchestrator, or we could have it in the Windows security and extract from there. So we can, these strings here for the password are not simple strings, they're using secure strings, so they're encrypted, so the developers or other people have not got access to those passwords, so they can be safely secured and retrieved. We'll be using a data table for temporary storage. So as we're processing each of these PDFs, we'll temporarily store the results, the data in the results, in a data table, which we'll then save to an Excel file, and then we'll send that as a summary file of the 100 transactions to the management. And then at the end, we'll obviously want to look at how fast and accurate our process was. Okay, so let's start our demo. So what we'll do over here, we've got our UiPath Studio over here, and we've got our loan application screen here, and we've got our 100 PDFs. So we'll start running this. Okay, so as you can see, it started processing the first loan and going through each one by one, submitting, entering the data, submitting. So we're going to be processing 100 loans over here. And if we have a look over here on the right hand side, you can see the code over here. At the start of the code, what we're doing is we're getting the credentials and then what we are doing is we are creating a data table up here. We are then getting the PDF names, and then we're going through and processing each PDF. So if we've got more PDFs, we're going to read the PDF data from the file down here. We're then going to enter that data into the form. We then click the submit button, which you can see what's happening over here on the right, this lone submit button. Then we get the status. Basically, this is where we're doing our screen scraping. The result of our screen scrape will be that we either check that we see the word sorry, which means our application has been rejected. So if we see that word sorry, we then know we had a rejection. If we didn't see the word sorry, then we scrape the data with the rate, the loan ID and the rate, and then we send an email. So if we had a rejection, all we would do is we check the reason for the rejection. So we either check whether the age was less than 18, or if the amount was greater than 100K. If the amount was greater than 100K, then it would also be rejected. And also if the salary income is greater than 100K, sometimes it will get rejected for that reason. So either way, whether it was rejected or accepted, we send the email. Now this sending the email, normally this would slow our process down. You can see over here, once it's basically submitted, it's gone back very fast back to the next one to process. The reason is that this is where we're spawning our background process over here. We're calling a separate process. Now this process to process the emails was done, I had to write a separate process, which is in my assistant, and that will call that process and pass in the parameters and send the email as a background process. And then once it's initiated that background process, you can see every time the cursor changes here with the circle, you can see now it's doing that because it's sending a background process. So that's why you can see it's doing some processing there in the background, sending those emails. So once we've sent the email, we add the summary, which gets added to our data table. We then move the PDF to the process directory, and then we click apply for another loan, which is this button over here, which is the button on the second screen. Apply for another loan, so it'll be the same for either screen, whether it was accepted or rejected. Once we've done that, we've basically completed a cycle. We then loop back up to the top, and we get the next PDF, which increments a counter, and that will come back over here and check, are there any PDFs left? And if there are, it will continue the process the next PDF. As you can see over here, it's just processing one PDF at a time. Now once we've completed the 100, so there's no more PDFs left, it's processed them all, it will then save the summary, which saves the data table, to an Excel file, and then it will send a summary email to management. So in this case, when it's sending the emails, it's sending them out to each of the applicants with the response. Well, in this case, for the demo, I've just sent it to myself because I didn't want to spam any random email addresses if they actually existed, so I've just sent it to myself. But in reality, it would be sending out to the actual applicant. And over here, sending the email to management, which we'll just send to my account. So we'll see those emails once it's completed the 100. Down here, you can see that it started executing, and at the end, it will give us a time amount showing how long it took to process the 100 from the time we clicked run until the process finished. So then we can check how efficient it was. Now the other thing we could do, this is just using a attended bot which is running on someone's machine in the foreground. If this was running in the background, instead of looping through one by one, we could add these as queue items and have multiple bots extracting from the queues set up in Orchestrator, and then we could have more than one queue. So you can see the output there. It took 5 minutes 21 to process those 100 applications and complete the job and send out the emails. So if we had a look at the emails, we could then see that they were all sent out, and we can see the appropriate data and also the management report. So let's have a look at the emails. So we go over and have a look at our Gmail here, and you can see I have received all of these emails here saying it was either approved or rejected. So obviously, as I said, this would be sent out to the customer, not to me, but I'm just doing this for testing. So for example, if I open this one, it says congratulations, your loan's been approved. One that's being rejected, let's say this one, it says it's being rejected because the income was too high. The income was 120,000 and it rejected it for that reason. And if I look at the summary, this summary file gives me a summary of all the results of what happened. So this would be sent to management, for example, so the email, the amount, and then you could do whatever reports on this and check why certain loans were rejected, etc. So this is just a summary email which gets sent to the management. Okay, so that wraps it up for the demo. This is just to give you an idea of how to get your audience engaged rather than just starting off with PowerPoint slides. Starting off with a demo like this is a lot more powerful to capture their interest and get them paying attention to your presentation rather than just talking through a whole deck of slides. Thank you very much, and I will see you on the next video. Farewell.